I'm about to show you the one meal that actually reverses arterial plaque. Not manages it, not slows it down. Reverses it, pulls cholesterol out of your artery walls, and sends it back to your liver where it belongs. And I can prove it with peer-reviewed research and patients I've treated myself. I'm Dr. Curtis P. Langlotz, and after more than 2 decades as a cardiologist, I've seen the inside of thousands of diseased arteries. I've looked at angiograms showing 90% blockages. I've watched patients deteriorate on 3 medications while their plaques kept growing. I've referred too many people to bypass surgery who didn't need to be there. And I'm telling you right now, almost everything you've read online about unclogging your arteries is complete nonsense. Lemon water doesn't dissolve plaque. Apple cider vinegar doesn't clean your arteries. Garlic supplements don't melt cholesterol. Your arteries are not kitchen pipes. You can't pour something down your throat and wash them clean. That's not how any of this works. And the reason I know is because I understand what plaque actually is, not what the internet says it is, what it actually is at the cellular level. By the end of this video, you'll understand the exact biological mechanisms that cause plaque to form, to grow, and to rupture. You'll understand why standard advice fails, why low-fat diets make things worse, why statins alone aren't enough, and you'll know the exact meal, the exact ingredients, the exact compounds that activate the pathways your body needs to reverse this disease. But I'm not going to tell you the meal yet, because if I just give you a recipe without explaining why it works, you won't take it seriously. You'll try it for a week and quit. You need to understand the biology first. You need to see what's happening inside your arteries right now. You need to understand why this meal isn't some health food trend. It's a targeted medical intervention disguised as lunch. Let me tell you about Raymond, 64 years old. Raymond came to me after his primary care doctor found elevated cholesterol on a routine blood panel. His LDL was 168. His doctor put him on atorvastatin, 20 milligrams, standard protocol. Told him to eat a low-fat diet, cut out red meat, use margarine instead of butter, eat more whole grains. Raymond did everything right. He took his statin every day. He switched to skim milk. He ate chicken breast and brown rice. He avoided cheese like it was poison. He felt deprived, but he told himself it was worth it to protect his heart. 1 year later, his LDL had dropped to 94. His doctor was thrilled. Perfect, he said. Your numbers look great. Keep doing what you're doing. But I wasn't satisfied with just the LDL number. I ordered a coronary calcium score. This is a CT scan that measures how much calcium has deposited in your coronary arteries. It's the best predictor we have of heart attack risk. Better than LDL, better than total cholesterol, better than anything else. Raymond's calcium score came back at 412. Moderate to severe disease. His arteries were calcifying despite a year of statins and low-fat eating. His LDL looked beautiful on paper, but his arteries were turning into concrete. Raymond was devastated. I did everything right, he said. How is this possible? I explained that doing everything right according to standard advice isn't the same as doing what actually works. His LDL was low, but his plaque was still growing because the statin wasn't addressing the actual mechanisms. It wasn't activating reverse cholesterol transport. It wasn't stopping calcification. It wasn't restoring the function of his blood vessel lining. It was just lowering a number while the disease marched on. I put Raymond on the protocol I'm about to describe, the exact meal, every single day. We repeated his calcium score 18 months later. It was 378. It had decreased by 34 points. The plaque was regressing. The calcification was being reabsorbed. His arteries were healing. Raymond is still my patient today, 3 years later. His calcium score is 341, still elevated, but declining. The disease is reversing, not with more medication, not with surgery, with food. Comment below if your doctor has ever ordered a coronary calcium score for you. I want to know how many people have this critical information about their own arteries. Now let me explain what plaque actually is, because this is where most people get confused. They think plaque is like grease stuck to the inside of a pipe. They think cholesterol floats through the blood and sticks to the artery wall and builds up over time like gunk in a drain. That's completely wrong. Your artery wall has 3 layers. The innermost layer is called the intima. It's lined with a single layer of cells called endothelial cells. These cells form a barrier between your blood and the deeper tissues of the vessel. When they're healthy, they're smooth and slippery. They produce a gas called nitric oxide that keeps the vessel relaxed and dilated and prevents blood cells from sticking. But when these cells are damaged by high blood pressure, by smoking, by diabetes, by chronic inflammation, they become dysfunctional. They stop producing nitric oxide, they become sticky, They develop gaps, and through those gaps, LDL cholesterol particles enter the vessel wall and get trapped. Now, here's the critical part that changes everything. If that LDL just sat there, it wouldn't be a problem. But it doesn't just sit there, it oxidizes. Think of oxidation like rusting. The LDL particle is exposed to free radicals inside the vessel wall. The fats become rancid, the proteins become damaged, the particle transforms into something called oxidized LDL. And oxidized LDL is recognized by your immune system as a foreign invader. Your body thinks it's a bacteria or a virus or something dangerous that needs to be destroyed, so your immune system sends in the troops. White blood cells called monocytes enter the vessel wall. They transform into macrophages. These are the garbage collectors of your immune system. Their job is to eat foreign material and clear it out. The macrophages see the oxidized LDL. They recognize it as dangerous, and they eat it. They engulf it completely. But here's where the tragedy begins. The macrophage can't process all that cholesterol. It becomes overwhelmed. It swells up with fat. It transforms into what we call a foam cell, a bloated, sick, dying immune cell stuffed with cholesterol. These foam cells are the foundation of plaque. They cluster together in the vessel wall. They trigger more inflammation. More immune cells are recruited. More foam cells form. The plaque grows and grows and grows. And those foam cells are trying to help you. They're trying to clean up the oxidized LDL. They're trying to protect you, but they get stuck. They can't leave the vessel wall. They can't transport the cholesterol back out. So they just sit there bloated and dying. And when they die, they rupture. They spill their contents into the vessel wall. Cholesterol crystals, inflammatory molecules, cellular debris. This triggers more inflammation. The plaque expands. And over years and decades, calcium deposits form. Your body tries to wall off the inflammation by laying down calcium like scar tissue. Your arteries literally turn into bone. This is what a calcium score measures, not just cholesterol, not just blockage. How calcified your arteries have become, how much your body has tried to contain the inflammation by turning your vessels into rigid pipes. Comment calcium score and your number if you know it. I want to see what people are dealing with. Now, here's what most people don't understand about heart attacks. The plaques that kill you aren't always the biggest ones. Sometimes a plaque that's only 40 or 50% blocking the artery, a plaque that wouldn't even show up on a stress test, ruptures suddenly. The contents spill into the bloodstream. Your blood is exposed to clotting signals. A clot forms instantly. Blood flow stops. Heart muscle dies. You have a heart attack. This is why the standard approach fails. Cardiologists focus on narrowing. They do stress tests and angiograms. They measure how blocked the artery is. If it's more than 70% blocked, they stent it. They open it up. Problem solved. Except it's not solved because the plaque is still there, still inflamed, still unstable, still ready to rupture. The stent prevents symptoms, but it doesn't reverse the disease. And the smaller plaques, the ones that aren't stented, those are the ones that kill people. Because nobody's treating them. Nobody's reversing them. We don't need to just widen the artery. We need to stabilize the plaque. We need to reverse it. We need to pull the cholesterol out of those foam cells, out of the vessel wall, back into the bloodstream where it can be transported to the liver and eliminated. This process exists. It's called reverse cholesterol transport, and it's the only proven way to actually reverse atherosclerosis. Your body has a mechanism for this. HDL cholesterol. You've heard it called good cholesterol, and it is good, but not because it's a different type of cholesterol. HDL is good because it's a transport vehicle. Its job is to pick up cholesterol from tissues and bring it back to the liver. When HDL encounters a foam cell, it docks on the cell surface. It activates a protein called ABCA1. This protein is like an eject button. It pumps cholesterol out of the foam cell and loads it onto the HDL particle. The HDL carries the cholesterol away, the liver excretes it, the foam cell shrinks, the plaque regresses. This is reverse cholesterol transport, and it's the key to everything. But here's the problem. Most people's reverse cholesterol transport is broken, their ABCA1 isn't activated, their HDL isn't functional, their foam cells can't eject the cholesterol. So the plaque just grows and grows until it ruptures or until they end up in the hospital. But ABCA1 can be activated, HDL function can be restored, reverse cholesterol transport can be turned on, not with medication, not with surgery, with specific foods eaten in a specific combination. This is the meal I'm going to describe. Let me tell you about Vivian, 71 years old. because her story shows the power of this approach. Vivian had a calcium score of 623. Severe disease, her cardiologist wanted to do an angiogram. Vivian was terrified. She'd watched her husband go through bypass surgery 5 years earlier. She didn't want to end up on that table. She came to me for a second opinion. I looked at her medications. She was already on a statin, already on a blood pressure medication, already on aspirin, standard triple therapy, and her calcium score was still 623. I explained the mechanisms to Vivian. I explained that her medications were managing risk factors but not reversing the disease. I explained reverse cholesterol transport. I explained what activates ABCA1. I gave her the exact meal protocol. Vivian was skeptical. She said, "My cardiologist has never mentioned any of this." "Why would food work when medications aren't working?" I said, "Because the medications lower LDL. They don't activate the pathways that pull cholesterol out of plaque. Food can do what medication can't." Vivian decided to try it. She committed to eating the meal every single day, not when she felt like it, every day without exception. 14 months later, we repeated her calcium score. 589. It had dropped 34 points. The disease was reversing. Her cardiologist was shocked. He said the calcium score must be wrong. Calcium scores don't decrease. But they do decrease when you activate the right pathways, when you restore reverse cholesterol transport, when you stop calcification at the cellular level. The body can heal itself. It just needs the right inputs. Vivian is 74 now. Her most recent calcium score was 547. Still high, but steadily declining. She never needed that angiogram. She never ended up on the surgical table. She reversed her disease with a meal. Now, I'm going to tell you exactly what's in this meal and why each component matters. Every ingredient serves a specific purpose. Every compound activates a specific pathway. You can't substitute. You can't skip components. You can't do half of this and expect results. The first component is the nitrate donor. You need arugula, 2 to 3 cups of fresh raw arugula. Here's why. Your endothelium, the lining of your arteries, produces nitric oxide. This is the most important molecule in cardiovascular health. Nitric oxide dilates your vessels. It prevents blood cells from sticking. It inhibits inflammation. It prevents plaque formation. But in atherosclerosis, nitric oxide production is impaired. Your endothelium is sick. It can't make enough. And without nitric oxide, your vessels constrict. Blood flow decreases, plaque progresses. You can restore nitric oxide through a pathway that was only discovered in the past 20 years. It's called the enterosalivary nitrate-nitrite nitric oxide pathway. Almost nobody knows about this, including most cardiologists. Here's how it works. You eat foods high in nitrate, leafy greens like arugula, spinach, beets. The nitrate is absorbed in your intestines. It enters your bloodstream. Your salivary glands concentrate it. About 25% of the nitrate in your blood gets secreted into your saliva. Now here's where it gets remarkable. Your mouth is full of bacteria. Specific bacteria on your tongue have an enzyme called nitrate reductase. This enzyme converts nitrate into nitrite. You swallow. The nitrite enters your stomach. Stomach acid converts some of it into nitric oxide immediately. The rest is absorbed and travels through your bloodstream. When it reaches your vessels, your endothelial cells convert it into nitric oxide. Your vessels dilate, blood flow increases, endothelial function is restored. Studies show this happens within hours of eating high nitrate foods. Blood pressure drops, arterial stiffness decreases, exercise capacity improves. But here's the critical warning. This only works if you have the bacteria. If you kill the bacteria, the pathway fails. And how do you kill oral bacteria? Mouthwash, antiseptic mouthwash, chlorhexidine, Listerine. These products kill bacteria. That's their job. But they kill the good bacteria too. The bacteria that convert nitrate to nitrite. Studies have proven this. Researchers gave people mouthwash twice daily for a week. Then they gave them beetroot juice. Nitric oxide production was gone. Blood pressure increased. Endothelial function worsened. All because the bacteria were dead. So if you want this to work, you need to stop using mouthwash. Immediately. Permanently. Just brush your teeth. Floss. That's enough. Don't kill the bacteria that are keeping your arteries alive. Comment no more mouthwash if you're going to make this change. I want to see who's serious about their cardiovascular health. Arugula provides 300 to 500 milligrams of nitrate in 2 to 3 cups. That's the therapeutic dose. Eat it raw. Cooking destroys nitrate. Use it as the base of your meal, a large salad, every single day. The second component is high phenolic extra virgin olive oil. Not regular olive oil, not light olive oil, high phenolic extra virgin olive oil. This distinction matters enormously. Olive oil contains a compound called oleocanthal. This is a polyphenol. It's what makes high-quality olive oil taste peppery and harsh. That burning sensation in the back of your throat when you swallow good olive oil, that's oleocanthal. And oleocanthal is one of the most powerful cardiovascular compounds ever studied. It does two critical things. First, it's anti-inflammatory. Oleocanthal inhibits the same enzymes that ibuprofen inhibits. It calms inflammation in your vessel walls. It stabilizes plaque. Second, and this is the key, oleocanthal upregulates ABCA1. It activates the gene that produces this cholesterol transporter. Your foam cells start expressing more ABCA1 on their surface. More cholesterol gets ejected, more reverse cholesterol transport, more plaque regression. This has been proven in cell studies. Researchers took foam cells and treated them with oleocanthal. ABCA1 expression increased, cholesterol efflux increased, the foam cells shrank, and it's been proven in massive human trials. The PREDIME study followed 7,000 high-risk patients for 5 years. One group ate a low-fat diet, one group ate a Mediterranean diet with nuts, one group ate a Mediterranean diet with extra virgin olive oil, 4 tablespoons per day. The olive oil group had a 30% reduction in cardiovascular events compared to the low-fat group, 30% from olive oil. But not just any olive oil. The study used high phenolic Spanish olive oil, fresh, cold-pressed, rich in oleocanthal. If you use cheap refined olive oil, you're not getting oleocanthal. You're getting fat, just fat, and fat alone doesn't activate ABCA1. When you buy olive oil, look for extra virgin, cold-pressed, harvest date within the past year, dark glass bottle, and do the taste test. Pour a small amount into a cup, swallow it. It should burn, it should make you cough. That burn is oleocanthal. The stronger the burn, the higher the phenolic content. If it tastes smooth and mild, it's worthless for this purpose. Get the harsh stuff. How much? 4 tablespoons per day. That's what the studies used. That's 500 calories from olive oil alone. This scares people. They've been told fat is bad. They've been told to count calories. They've been told olive oil will make them gain weight. This is wrong. Low-fat diets have been the biggest disaster in the history of nutrition. For 50 years, we've been told to avoid fat and eat more carbs. What happened? Obesity rates tripled. Diabetes exploded. Heart disease remained the #1 killer. Because fat isn't the enemy. Oxidized LDL is the enemy. Inflammation is the enemy. Dysfunctional reverse cholesterol transport is the enemy. And low-fat diets make all of these worse by lowering HDL and increasing triglycerides. The Mediterranean diet is 40% fat. And people who eat Mediterranean diets have the lowest rates of cardiovascular disease in the world. Because it's not about the amount of fat. It's about the type of fat and what it does to your cellular machinery. Pour the olive oil on your arugula salad, 4 tablespoons. Don't be shy, this is medicine. The third component addresses calcification, because if your arteries are calcified, if your calcium score is elevated, nitric oxide and ABCA1 activation won't be enough. You need to stop the calcium from depositing. Better yet, you need to reverse what's already there. For this, you need vitamin K2, not K1, K2. This distinction is critical. Vitamin K1 is involved in blood clotting. You get it from green leafy vegetables. It's important, but it doesn't affect calcium metabolism. Vitamin K2 is completely different. Its job is to direct calcium to the right places, into your bones, not into your arteries. K2 activates a protein called matrix GLA protein, or MGP. This protein is made by smooth muscle cells in your artery walls. Its job is to inhibit calcification. It binds to calcium and prevents it from crystallizing. It keeps your arteries soft and flexible. But MGP only works if it's activated, and it's activated by vitamin K2. Without K2, MGP sits there inactive. It can't bind calcium. Your arteries calcify. They turn into bone. This is why most people's calcium scores keep increasing even on statins. Their K2 levels are depleted. Their MGP is inactive. Calcium keeps depositing. Studies have shown that K2 supplementation stops calcium scores from increasing. In some cases, scores actually decrease. The calcium gets pulled out of the arteries and redirected to the bones where it belongs. The best food source of K2 is natto. This is a Japanese food made from fermented soybeans. It's slimy and pungent, and most Westerners find it revolting. But it contains more K2 than any other food on the planet, specifically the MK7 form, which is the most bioactive. Japanese people who eat natto regularly have dramatically lower rates of cardiovascular disease, lower calcium scores, more flexible arteries, longer lives. If you can tolerate natto, Eat 50 grams per day. That provides about 200 micrograms of MK7. If you can't stomach natto, the alternatives are aged cheeses like Gouda or Brie. These contain moderate K2. You'd need about 3 ounces per day, or you can supplement. MK7 supplements are widely available. The dose used in studies is 180 to 360 micrograms daily. This is safe. K2 doesn't affect blood clotting. It doesn't interfere with blood thinners. Take it with your meal for best absorption. Raymond, the patient I mentioned at the beginning, eats natto every single day. He hated it at first, said it tasted like mucus. But he forced himself because he understood the mechanism. He understood that his calcium score would keep climbing without K2. Now he's used to it, says it's an acquired taste. And his calcium score has dropped from 412 to 341. The fourth component prevents LDL oxidation in the first place. Remember, plaque starts when LDL crosses the endothelium and oxidizes. If you prevent oxidation, you prevent the entire cascade. No oxidized LDL means no macrophages eating it, no foam cells, no plaque growth. The most powerful compounds for preventing LDL oxidation are called punicolagens. These are polyphenols found in pomegranates, specifically in the seeds and the white membrane around the seeds. Punicolagens have a unique property. They bind directly to LDL particles, they coat them, they prevent free radicals from attacking. The LDL can't oxidize. And if it can't oxidize, your immune system doesn't recognize it as foreign. Macrophages don't eat it, foam cells don't form. Human studies have proven this. Researchers gave people pomegranate juice for 1 year. They measured carotid intima media thickness, which is a measure of plaque burden. The thickness decreased, the plaque regressed, and when they looked at the mechanism, LDL oxidation had dropped dramatically. The particles were resistant to oxidation because they were coated with punicolagens. Pomegranate also increases peroxinase activity. Peroxinase is an enzyme that rides on HDL particles. Its job is to break down oxidized lipids. It cleans up damage. People with high peroxinase have lower cardiovascular risk. Pomegranate increases it. Add 1 cup of fresh pomegranate arils to your salad, not juice. Juice has too much sugar. The whole seeds. They provide texture, flavor, and about 300 milligrams of punicolagens. That's a therapeutic dose. Let me put this all together for you. The complete meal. Start with a large bowl, 2 to 3 cups of fresh arugula, raw, not cooked. This provides your nitrates for nitric oxide production. Add 1 cup of fresh pomegranate arils. These provide punicolagens to prevent LDL oxidation. Dress the salad with 4 tablespoons of high phenolic extra virgin olive oil. This provides oleocanthal to activate ABCA1 and reverse cholesterol transport. This is why I'm making this video, because somewhere right now someone has a calcium score of 800 and thinks their only option is surgery. Someone is being told to eat a low-fat diet while their plaque keeps growing. Someone is taking a statin and believing they're protected while their ABCA1 sits dormant and their foam cells keep swelling. They need to see this video. They need to understand the mechanisms. They need to know there's another way. If this information could save someone you love, share it. Send it to anyone with heart disease, anyone with high cholesterol, anyone with a family history. Text it, email it, post it. Your share could prevent a heart attack. Subscribe to this channel because I'm committed to sharing the mechanisms, the pathways, the actual science, not guidelines written by committees influenced by pharmaceutical money, the truth about what works and what doesn't. Leave a comment, tell me your calcium score, tell me if your doctor ever explained ABCA1 or nitric oxide or MGP, tell me if you're going to try this meal. Every comment tells the algorithm this video is valuable. Every comment helps more people find this information. You now understand what plaque actually is. Not grease in a pipe. An immune response to oxidized LDL trapped in your vessel wall. You understand why it grows. Foam cells that can't eject their cholesterol. You understand how to reverse it. Activate ABCA1, restore nitric oxide, stop calcification, prevent oxidation. And you know the exact meal that activates all 4 pathways. Arugula for nitrates, olive oil for oleocanthal, pomegranate for punicolagens, natto or cheese or K2 supplement for MGP activation. Eat this meal every day, track your numbers, watch your calcium score stabilize and then decline. Watch the disease that was supposed to be progressive and irreversible actually reverse. Raymond did it, Vivian did it, Donald did it. Thousands of people I've never met are doing it right now because they found information like this and took action. You can do it too. You just have to decide that your arteries are worth 10 minutes of meal preparation and $400 a month. You have to decide that preventing bypass surgery is more important than convenience. You have to decide that understanding the mechanisms matters more than blindly following advice that isn't working. Make the decision, eat the meal, heal your arteries. I'll see you in the next video where we continue taking control of your cardiovascular health together.